What the government intends to do is bring in this legislation that enables them to use a government body as the final arbiter of all things true. The same liars that have lied to us about everything else.
Yemini for Rebel News in Melbourne, Australia, where a small group led by Nick Patterson have gathered to hand out flyers to educate the public on the current misinformation bill proposed in federal parliament.
The idea is that we as a people start getting out there, letting people know, hey, this is bad stuff. And I think they're going to get it through. But at least make the effort, solemnly protest against it, let people know this is what they're doing, and at least people can be informed. And I think our enemy, they exist in a lie. Their ability to perpetuate a false narrative is where they get their power over us. Now, if we can break that narrative down and start doing it before they even get the legislation in, that's going to make it harder for them to even get people to enforce the madness if most people are against it. You know, basically create a culture that's against government corruption, which in this case is the government's ability to control speech and decide what's true and what's false, and completely restrict anything that they deem to be false, which we know will be anything that's against their narrative.
What kind of untruths are you trying to share that you're so scared the government's going to stop you from sharing?
Well, basically anything that's the truth. They will.
That is certainly misinformation.
Yeah. Well, it has to be true for it to be misinformation in their terms, and they can just decide whatever, just like all the nonsense and rubbish that they came up with constantly during the COVID debacle.
Well, this will legislate it. Okay, this is legislation, which means that the people will be paying for their own censorship.
We have to do this. We've only got until about the 6th, I think, before they introduce it, push it through.
The enemy of all things good is the people that perpetuate lies over our minds with the purpose of getting power from that lie, creating a false narrative. That's what they do. That's what our government does. They created a false narrative with the pandemic. They've created false narratives with all other issues.
Well, you know, George Orwell spoke about the Ministry of Truth, which actually was a Ministry of Lies.
What are you saying, that the government has lied to us before?
Well, you know, I have a suspicion that might have occurred once or twice.
You know, I'm a Christian man. I like to talk about God, and I like to inspire people to have courage. That could become false information, misinformation, dangerous information, and they might use legislation like this because I have morals.
It's so scary. There's so many pincer actions happening, like, you know, digital money, where they can turn off your money. I mean, we've seen that happening in Canada.
My wife turned off my money a long time ago. What naughty things are you trying to say that you're worried they're going to stop you from saying?
They're going to stop me from saying I don't like Dan Andrews, because that will be hate speech. They're going to stop me from saying I don't like Anthony Albanese. That will be hate speech. They're going to stop me from...
You seem to be hating on a lot of women.
And of course, you know, people are we're gonna meet some opposition when we do this, but we should do this, okay?
But how do you want the government to convince people that men can be women, the world is going to end from climate change, and you need 52 boosters to go to work?
There's too much to say to unpack that. I can't even answer that.
This is why we need legislation here in Australia to protect us from such extremists.
How many more rights are they going to take, and how much are they going to... how much are we going to put up with before we actually revolt?
You scare me a little bit.
Do I?
If you think it's important for the world to see what's happening here in Australia, for the bill that's going to likely pass, to educate others, make sure to like, comment, but most importantly, share this while it's still legal on the platform you're watching right now. And then head over to followavi.com and follow me across all my socials, just in case the platform you're watching this on right now cowers to the government after this bill passes. Followavi.com.